Hey guys, what's up? Kurt Hughes here with Ignite Baseball. Today we're talking about the cross step. I made a video about this the other day, but I wanted to kind of spend just a little bit more time talking about it so you guys kind of have an understanding of some of the benefits of the cross step, but then also some of the negatives of the cross step. So definitely if you haven't checked out the video, go back and watch it. I'm a little bit long-winded in it, but it's a really good one, and it really kind of dives deep on some of the components of the swing. So if you're interested, definitely check it out, okay? So what you'll kind of see here on the ground is a golf club, just my driver. I kind of laid on the ground because I want you to kind of think, to look at this and see that that's what I'm calling straight to the pitcher. So if my feet are like this, obviously I'm talking about cross-stepping. If my feet are like this, obviously I'm talking about stepping straight, which up until now has been kind of the thing that I've been teaching. But I'm certainly considering kind of, adding in this cross-step component to some hitters as well. And I'll kind of talk about why. So with the way that I've been teaching the swing up until now, I want people to step somewhat straight. So when they get into their step and they land, they want their feet to be heel to heel. So you can see that this heel, maybe you can't quite see my heel, but my front heel and my back heel are pretty much in a straight line. And what that allows me to do is to make my pelvis open just a little bit, so that way I have created a path for my front hip to move back and my back hip to move forward, so I can kind of rotate like this through the ball, which has worked really well for a lot of the hitters that I work with in their ability to hit the ball, especially pull side. Away is something that has been successful, but I think it could be a little bit more successful. And that's one of the reasons that I'm kind of considering this cross-step approach. Now, the cross-step would look like this. So you just kind of start away from the plate, and you step, and you kind of dive in. This is something that Giancarlo Stanton does, Jose Altuve does, Chris Bryant does sometimes, JD Martinez, Carlos Gonzalez. There's a lot of really good hitters that do this, which is one of the reasons that I'm considering it. When you're in science, you can't ever ignore what's happening in the real world. So when I'm teaching hitting, I can't ignore what some of the best players in the world are doing just because it doesn't fit my model. I may need to adjust my model to fit what the best thing is. So when we kind of do our step in this direction, you can kind of see from the picture, you can kind of see like part of my butt right here. And what that has done, instead of having my hips open like this, right, so my hips can move this way, it's closed my hips like this, so my front hip has to move in this way. So like kind of like a towards the other dugout like this. So the beginning of my swing will kind of look like that, opposed to looking like this. So the pros of me stepping open or stepping kind of square the way that I was talking about it originally, so my pelvis can rotate this way, is that my back hip can move pretty much directly at the pitcher, which allows me to get a lot of barrel speed going in this direction, right? So when I start my turn, it makes my back hip go right this way if my hips are a little bit open in the beginning. So as soon as I go boom, it makes my bat really, really explode in the direction of the pitcher. Now, with hitting away pitches like this, what you want to do is you want to hold on to the barrel tight with your back elbow like this, so that way the barrel pivots behind you, and once the barrel becomes parallel to where you want to, perpendicular to where you want to hit the ball, you release it out in that direction. So hitting an away pitch in this way would look like this. Boom. So you can kind of see that my barrel angle, it turned deep behind me and then stayed going out this way. Where in inside pitches, I'm going to hold my bat up a little bit longer, not pivot it so deep, and spin it out in front of me so my barrel angle can go out towards left field because I'm a righty, right? So with the stride in, I don't have to have as good barrel turn behind me to hit the away pitch because my feet are always going in that direction. So if I step like this, okay, I don't have to turn the barrel as tightly behind me like this, like I do when I step straight. in order to accomplish the same thing because of the way that my feet are oriented. And this is something that we see in Altuve and Stanton especially. They don't really have super tight barrel turns back behind them. And if you want to look at video of that, make sure you check out the previous video that I just put up. I can put a link in the bio, but it's also, or not in the bio, in the description, but it's also just on my channel. It's one of the last videos I put up. So I think it's called the cross step. Good, question mark, bad, question mark, why, question mark. So definitely check that out. But anyways, this is something that we see Altuve and Stanton do a lot. And what they can do is they can almost, as long as they get their hip out, like start to turn their hips a little bit before, they can almost throw their hands in this direction, and it makes their barrel kind of angle in the way that they want to hit the ball out here at right field. Now the problem with throwing your hands like that is that it does delay the turn of your barrel just a bit, so you have to make a decision on the pitch a little bit earlier than you might like. That said, when you don't turn the barrel that well, your swing, when you decide to swing, you can decide to not swing because your barrel turn isn't immediate. So let me kind of show you an example of that, and I'm going to kind of step this way while showing you an example instead of the other way so you can see my barrel. So the way that I was teaching it before, and still kind of am, the barrel wants to turn really, really quick behind you like this. And when everything gets going really, really fast behind you, you can see how quick that movement was, and it becomes really, really difficult for me to execute a check swing because my body is moving so quick and my barrel is moving so quick behind me that it's really, really hard to stop, which is great because I can decide super late, but it's also kind of has like its little bit of flaws because if you make a wrong decision, then you just miss the pitch. So if you step in like this, right, and I throw my hands at the pitch a little bit, my barrel won't turn as quick. So although it's more out in front of me, it turns more out in front of me, I can hold my barrel back just a little bit longer, which gives me the ability to say, oh, no, I don't want to swing after I've already started. So the only problem with that is once you decide that you want to swing, you have to make that decision when the ball is a little bit further away from you, so you don't know quite as much about the pitch. So I talked a little bit about pitch tunnels in the video. If you don't know what that is, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. Just type in pitch tunnels and you'll see a guy that's really like into that is Perry Husband. He talks a lot about pitch tunnels and about how like you want pitches, if you're a pitcher, to be in the exact same eye window for as long as possible so the hitter doesn't know what the ball is going to do. So your fastball, you want it to look like it's coming right here, and then boom, it drops, right? Or sorry, boom, it keeps going straight. But then the next pitch you throw might look just like that fastball, and then boom, it drops because it's a curveball, right? So that's the concept of pitch tunnels. So pitchers are constantly, when you get to the high levels, are trying to put the ball in those tunnels and hold them there for as long as you can so you don't know what the pitch is as a hitter. So you have to gamble a little bit when you have this pattern where you don't turn the barrel right away. But you can hold up if you make the wrong decision. So it's kind of a catch-22, and you have to decide what's the most important to you. Do I want to really step open a little bit, hold myself back for a really, really long period of time until the pitch is kind of out of the tunnel, and then swing after it's out of the tunnel and be really, really quick to it? But if I swing in the wrong spot, I miss no matter what? Or do I want to try to swing when the pitch is still in the tunnel and kind of gamble with the ability to maybe hold up if you're able to stop it? So that's kind of the conundrum that we're in with the cross step versus versus not cross stepping. So it's important to understand that while we see the cross step in a lot of really, really good hitters, we also see the open step in a lot of really good hitters. Donaldson, Rizzo, there's a ton of them across the board. I don't need to list all of them off. Chris Davis, the guy for the A's. That said, and the other Chris Davis. But long story short, it's important to understand the pros and cons and kind of weigh that out as you're going forward. Do you want the ability to check swing while having to commit a little bit early? Or do you want the ability to commit as late as possible with a reduced ability to check swing? So for younger guys, that are really trying to develop power, I'm still in the camp that I'd much rather have you be able to decide really, really late with a reduced ability to check swing, because F equals MA, and that allows more weight to carry your bat into the zone. But if you're someone who already has the power, then maybe it's a good idea to have the ability to check swing. So really, each hitter is dynamic, and I'm always going to pick to do what the best thing is for that hitter, regardless of what what I think the best model is. Every single hitter that I work with doesn't have a perfect swing. The perfect swing doesn't exist. Only like in my head, it kind of exists. But at the same time, I'm pushing to a hitter to a spot where they're functional and really, really good and comfortable. And they're confident in what they're doing. If they're confident in what they're doing, then we can tackle anything. But if they're not, then it's really difficult to move forward. So keep that in mind. And the step, I would recommend starting out trying to step a little bit open like I first talked about. But then if you're having trouble turning the barrel and you continuously struggle with away pitches, then maybe the cross step is something that you want to work for or work towards. And I can help you with that. So give me a shout. All my information is in the bottom. Hope to hear from you.